Sometimes history reminds you of what it truly cost Africa to be free. Guinea 1958 is that story. Under President Ahmed Sekou Toure, Guinea became the first Francophone African country to say no to France. And France made sure every colony on the continent watched what happened to them for it. It is 1958. Independence movements are growing across the continent and France can feel it sleeping. So, Charles de Gaulle, the French president, creates something called the French Community. Colonies will get limited self-governance, but France will keep control of their defense, foreign policy, and economy. All they have to do is to vote yes. The idea, give them a feeling of freedom without actually giving them freedom. And de Gaulle assumes every colony will say yes. And that assumption is not unreasonable. France has spent decades not just controlling Africa, but making Africans feel French. By 1958, most colonies have been so shaped by French language, culture, and identity that voting yes feels natural. Sekou Toure feels it differently. Before the referendum, de Gaulle visits Guinea in person. Toure is 36 years old, a union organizer who has spent his life fighting for Guinean workers. He stands in front of de Gaulle and says these words: "We prefer poverty in freedom to riches in slavery." On September 28, 1958, Guineans vote and 95% say no to France. On October 2nd, 1958, Guinea becomes the first Francophone African country to claim full independence. So France responds by pulling out over 4,000 people, doctors, teachers, engineers, civil servants, all gone within 2 months. And this is where you see exactly who France is. On the way out, they unscrew light bulbs from government buildings and take them. They burn medicines in hospital rather than leave them behind. They destroy the sewage infrastructure plans for Conakry, the capital, so Guinea cannot even run its own city. They smash equipment, burn books, and demolish buildings. French commentators call it a divorce without alimony. Guinea is left with no infrastructure, no transition plan, and no support. The educated class flees the country by thousands. The country that chose freedom descends into poverty and repression. But in 1960, the wave of African independence comes anyway. Country after country declares independence. What France tried to prevent by making an example of Guinea happens regardless. History records that Guinea paid for being first. They lost their doctors, their teachers, their medicines, their infrastructure, and decades of economic stability. Guinea paid that price so the door to independence in Francophone Africa could open. In 19